Meetings and conferences. Businesses without meeting and conferences are never heard of. Series of meetings and periodic conferences are part and parcel of any business. Now let's learn a little more about what these are. Conferences and meetings refer to an assembly of persons who come together and deliberate on topics and issues of communicable interest. The essential difference between meeting and conference is that meeting can happen a one-to-one meeting, smaller numbers can also be called a meeting. It can happen even without much of a plan, the sudden requirement that can happen. While a conference is a big time affair, it does not happen very often. It could be an annual or a biannual or a quarterly affair. It's normally very well planned. It requires planning because a lot of people involved. So that is the basic difference between meeting and conference. Let's see why we need them. Exchange of information. A meeting, either one-to-one or one-to-many, the idea is information is shared. Articulation of alternative viewpoints. There's some idea which has come and one would like to share it with others so that the other viewpoints may also be gathered before the idea is implemented. Deliberation on specific issues. Why is absenteeism so high? We can deliberate on the issue. Removal of misconceptions. If somebody thinks somebody is not doing well and somebody feels that it's a misconception, one wants to clarify, we could have a meeting. Elaboration and clarification of concepts and ideas. Finalization of plans and strategies. The final plans are normally presented to the people concerned and they okay it and one can go ahead. Review of performance, either one-to-one or many. Enlistment of support and a host of communication needs which are essential in a business or organizational context. Facilitation of intensive interaction with individuals and groups in order to achieve much more than any written communication. While written communication does inform and convey, because it lacks the non-verbal support and does not convey feelings the way it should. Normally in conferences and meetings this is achieved. After written communication is made, a presentation is also made to convey the right way. Purposes and golden rules of meetings. Following are some of the important reasons why meetings are held in business organizations. To save time in communication, instead of calling one by one and telling people what it's all about, let's say they want to convey something, call all of them together and have a meeting. To instruct a group for a specific purpose or briefing. To discuss and solve problems related to business. To solve conflicts, confusions, disagreements among target groups. To give and get new ideas and immediate reactions. To generate enthusiasm and positive attitudes. If you want to charge your sales team, you call them, share with them the incentive plan that you have for them, and if somebody has done well, applaud them, congratulate them in front of all. Creates a lot of enthusiasm and positiveness. To arrive at consensus on issues of concern, to learn more from others and to train them. The various reasons why we have meetings. 10 golden rules to remember when we have meetings. They should be convened only when essential. Because meetings do take up a lot of time, because if you multiply 10 people and 1 hour, it's 10 into 1, 10 man hours. Should have time schedule and must begin and end on time. This has always been the problem with meetings. It's good to plan the time, begin sharp, on time and end on time. It's a productivity issue. Should be convened only when no telephonic discussion is possible. If through telephone we can convey what we want to convey, and if it is brief, there are no issues, better to convey. if it cannot be conveyed through telephone and we need to meet, then only a meeting is required. Must have clear and specific agenda and sub-agenda. One must be sure why we want a meeting, because it requires a lot of planning. People have to leave their jobs and come over, and listen in a meeting. The reason better be good. The notice of the meeting should be sent well before the meeting to those who are required to attend and make useful contributions. Why we are calling in people? Because we believe that their coming in will make a difference in the decision making or in the argument or in the idea sharing, whatever it might be. Hence we must respect their time and give them both the timing and the agenda well before. Conclusion of a meeting is summarized so that each one understands the summary of the proceedings. If in meeting we discuss a lot of things, it's difficult to retain one and all. So there would be a person assigned who will take the minutes of the meeting, and once the meeting is over, the minutes of the meeting is circulated to one and all who have attended the meeting and contributed. Action oriented minutes should be prepared and circulated after the meeting. The minutes are action oriented so that they get done. Meeting should be closed on a pleasant note. We begin everything with a positive note and end in a pleasant note. Preparation for a meeting. Domestic arrangements. Which is why before we have a meeting, we should be clear why we want one, because it involves a lot of back and work. Where will the meeting be held? Venue. So one has to run around and book a venue depending upon the number of people who are going to attend. At what time and day will it be held? Because it is a convenience, everybody has to attend. So either it could be the beginning of the day or at the end of the day, so that everybody is available to attend the same. What will be the duration of the meeting? The agenda and the topics will decide what will be the duration. Who will be invited to attend? Who will be the participants? Depending upon the issue or the reason for the meeting, we will know who are the people who are going to attend. Who will chair the meeting? So that decision also will be taken. Who will be called upon to formally speak? If there is a formal speak required to start the meeting off and to set the agenda rolling, then that has to be decided. Whether lunch/dinner is arranged. If it is a meeting beyond 4-5 hours, then probably lunch will have to be, and if it's in the morning, starts in the morning, then lunch will have to be arranged. Or if it's going to extend through the day and in the later, after 7 or 8, then probably dinner also has to be arranged. Hence meeting is costly. So we should be careful as to why we are calling for a meeting. Paperwork involved. Minutes of the previous meeting and related records. If this is a regular meeting that's happening in an organization, then the previous minutes will be useful to set the ball rolling in the new meeting. Reports to be read beforehand along with office notes. If any pre-work needs to be done before the meeting commences, then that needs to be circulated well before the meeting starts. Agenda and related papers. The agenda gets circulated either before or during the meeting. And if any related papers, which means papers that need to be read during the meeting, then that also has to be circulated. Written reports or graphics required at the time of the meeting. If there are any written reports that are required, or if there are any presentations that have to be made, then those also have to get ready. So it also means that meeting requires a lot of preparation. Meeting itself takes time. Preparation requires time. So there is a lot of time involved. Of course, if the end result is something which will help the organization do well, then these meetings are required.